Hello everyone and welcome back. I'm happy to share with you this tutorial for the smiley face baby jumper. This is appropriate for 9 to 12 months old baby. I have measurements of 28 centimeters or 11 inches across, and the height of my jumper is from the shoulder, top of the shoulder down, 11 inches again, or 28 centimeters. My sleeves are 23 centimeters or 8.5 inches. So yes, appropriate for 9 to 12 months old baby. The jumper has a little button in the back for ease of putting the baby or the jumper on the baby, and we made these little cuffs that allow the sleeve to be tapered in but still go easy over baby's hands. For this project, I used Luxe and Threads yarn, the yellow one. Sorry, the blue one. It's my main color and it's a category 3 yarn, and recommended crochet hook for it is 4 millimeters or G6. I use the recommended size. So this is superwash merino mixed with 45% acrylic yarn, and it is called Luxe merino wool blend. Like I said, the color is celestial blue or lot 1158. Now my smiley and my cuff yarn I used is also by Loops and Threads, and it's called Brushed Rainbow. It is also polyester yarn. It is category 4. Recommended hook size is 5 millimeters or 6 millimeters or J10. So for this project, I needed 2 sizes of crochet hooks. I needed 5 millimeters for the cuffs and the smiley, and 4 millimeters for the body and the sleeves of my jumper. I also needed darning needles. The one with wide or large eye is definitely a bonus if you have it. If you have a smaller one and the yarn is too thick, then I use these yarn threaders and I just go through my eye and pull my yarn through. I also needed a measuring tape, a bunch of stitch marker, and a pair of scissors. And that's really all I needed. Oh yes, I forgot to tell you, I also needed weight for any type of weight for yarn, which is black. If you prefer for your smiley to be done in dark blue or brown, it's really up to you. I prefer the bright yellow to black contrast. So without further ado, let's begin. We're going to start with a magic circle, and we're going to chain 3. That counts as our first double crochet. We're going to make 15 more double crochets in the circle, so for the total of 16 double crochets. So this is 2, 3, 4. So once I have 16 double crochets, I'm going to pull on this string and cinch the middle, and I am going to slip stitch to the top of chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, we are going to chain 3 again, and where we slip stitched, I am going to do 2 double crochets, and in this row we're going to do 2 double crochets in each stitch from the previous row. So at the end of this row we're going to have 32 double crochets. At the end of the row, we're going to slip stitch into the top of chain 3 and chain 3 again. We are going to start in this next stitch right here and do 2 double crochets. Then in the next stitch we're going to put 1 double crochet. I got 48 double crochets, and I'm going to slip stitch into the first double crochet. So chain 1 and into that same space do your first single crochet, and now we're going to continue with single crochets around. Please make them loosely so you don't crinkle the fabric, and then also we're going to have to be working into the back loops of those single crochets, so it's going to be easier if they're looser than tight. So continue with single crochets all the way around until the end of this round, and make sure that at the end of the round you have 48 single crochets. At the end of the row, I'm going to cut my yarn, pull that yarn through, all right, so this is our first stitch right here. I'm going to go from the back. This is the right side. You can see the difference. So I'm going to go from the back under these both loops like the V, pull that yarn through, and then go into the middle of this next stitch right there and to the back. So now the stitch looks exactly the same as the rest of the stitches. Now I hold that with my thumb and I will weave in this tail. I will make a little knot. All the way holding that tail here so I don't distort the look of that last stitch we've made. And now I'm gonna go 2 times in different directions. Or this was a little bit tough because we worked with thicker yarn than recommended hook size. This yarn is weight 4 and the recommended hook was 6, but I wanted this yellow circle to be quite dense and to hold up its shape. Okay, and I'll go one more time. And that's how I hide my tails. All right, I'm gonna pull on this string and close the circle. And now I'm gonna weave in this end and I'll meet you back. Our circle is finished and it looks amazing. Make sure you have 48 stitches around. And now we're gonna start with our contrasting yarn. So make a slip knot. And now we are going to be working into the 2 back loops. So this is a regular little V that we get when we finish any of the stitches, whether it's single crochet or double crochet. So that's our little V on top of each stitch. We are going to also grab the loop here. So we're going to go through the back loop, this one, and through this loop, and make our stitches like so. So right here and here. If you need a needle to stretch the space, that's fine too. But let me just start anywhere. Pull your yarn through. And we are going to start with making a chain 3. And into that same space, we're going to do extended double crochet. And what that means is normally we would go through 2 and then 2. We are not going to do that. We are going to yarn over, grab our loop, go through only the first loop, and then finish the double crochet as usual. We're going to do that one more time. So grab a loop, go through the first one only, right there, and then finish your double crochet. So that's half of our corner. We're going to skip 2 stitches, and into the next stitch we're going to do regular 3 double crochets. And 3. Skip 2 again, 1, 2, and into the third stitch we're going to do 3 half double crochets. So that's 1, 2, and 3. We're going to skip 1, 2, and into the third one we're going to do 3 regular double crochets. Okay, skip 2 again, and into the third one we're going to do a full corner. So that's going to be, oops, that is going to be extended double crochet. So pull through 1 and then finish double crochet. That's once, twice, 3 times. Now we're going to chain 2 to create that corner, and into that same base we're going to put additional 3 extended double crochets. All right, so that's our first corner. This is our half corner, so we're going to finish that when we come around all the way the circle, or the end of the circle. So skip 2, and into the third one we're going to now repeat. So it's going to be 3 regular double crochets, then 3 half double crochets, 3 regular double crochets, and then the corner. So this is 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Now skip 2, and we're going to do additional corner. So 3 extended double crochets separated by chain 2, and another set of 3 extended 3 double crochets. So that's 3, chain 2, and into that same space 3 extended double crochets. And 1 more. So we now have 2 sides of our square. It's shaping nicely. So you're going to continue. Always skip 2, then 3 double crochets, skip 2, 3 half double crochets, skip 2, 3 regular double crochets, skip 2, and then you're looking at another corner. Corner is 3 extended double crochets, chain 2, and 3 extended double crochet. You're going to do that for 2 more sides. Okay, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches left. So I am going to skip 2, and into this one here put 3 double crochets, regular double crochets, And what's left is we need to finish this corner. We only did half of it at the beginning, so in that same space we're going to put 3 extended double crochets. It's a little bit tight in the beginning, but it gets easier now after this row. So extended double crochet, chain 2, and now normally we will slip stitch to the top of chain 3, but I do it a little bit differently. So this is our square shaping up nicely. So double check that you have enough cluster stitches, or the same number of cluster stitches on each side. 1, 2, 3. So we do. So the way I turn my work is I find the top of chain 3 and then take my loop here, adjust the tension and draw it through, making sure that the yarn is in the back. And now I'm going to slip stitch into that chain 2 space, chain 3, and do half my corner. This time we're doing regular double crochets all around. So that's 2, because we count the first chain 3 as 1 double crochet. And now we're going to put a 3 double crochet cluster or granny stitch in every space. In every space around. So just regular 3 double crochet clusters here and here, and then we'll do the corner together. In the corner we're going to put 3 regular double crochets, chain 2, and again 3 double crochets. So you're going to continue this, so 3 double crochets in each space, and then the corner 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets. You're going to do that in every space, and the corner, every space, and we'll finish the corner together. I'm at the corner, so to finish it I'm just going to add 3 double crochets and chain 2. So this is what's going to happen now on a repeat. So this is our right side, and we are going to be doing this. So this is the front of my cardigan, baby cardigan. So what I'm going to do is continue with rows around by flipping rows, front side or back side and then front side. And then what we need to do is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rows from the circle. So in our case here we have 1, 2. So we're going to finish our round with a double crochet into the top of chain 3. And that would finish our 11th row, I believe, or 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And with these 3 rows here, it's going to be 11 rows. And so what we're going to do next is we are going to do a shoulder strap here and then another one here. So we're going to chain 3. And turn our work. And into this very first space, I'm going to put 2 double crochets. So that's a total of 3 because the chain 3 counts as a double crochet. 2, and this time we're gonna do 2 double crochets in the space, and then the third one into this double crochet from the fan or the shell stitch from the row below. So we have in total 1, 2, 3, 4 granny stitches. Chain 3, turn work. Now we're going to skip these 2 double crochets and into this first space do our first granny, and we're going to finish here by putting a double crochet into the top of this double crochet from the previous row. Okay, so keep in mind that this is our wrong side, so we're going to chain 3 again, turn our work, and we have to finish on our right side. This is our right side, so we're going to do one more row of double crochets. So in this space I'm going to put 2 more double crochets, and in this last space we're going to do the same thing, 2 double crochets, and the third double crochet will be at the top of chain 3, so right here. All right, so we finished this side. I am going to put a stitch marker to keep that stitch alive until I'm ready to deal with it again. So now we're going to have to do the same thing here. Here we started on the right side, as you can see, then we had a row of double crochets on the wrong side and then finished with the right side. So we're going to do the same here. We started with 4 clusters, so 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we ended in this stitch here, which is part of this granny stitch from the previous row. So we're going to put 1 cluster here, 2, 3, and then we're going to end up in this stitch right here, which is part of our granny shell. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 clusters. So I'm going to start my work in that stitch. And we will chain 3. And put 2 more double crochets into that first space. And then do clusters till the end. Here we will put 2 double crochets, and the third one will be at the top of chain 3. So right here, chain 3, turn your work. Oops. Now we're going to skip these 2 double crochets and put our first cluster in the space. And our last double crochet will go at the top of chain 3. We will chain 3. We need 1 more row. Here we're going to put 2 double crochets in the space, and then 1 double crochet at the top of chain 3. All right. So this is now our second shoulder strap. This is our front. There is a difference for sure, you can see it here. And we got our 3 rows on each side. So we are now ready to start working on our back panel, and that's gonna be much simpler. This was simple enough, but so we're gonna start with a magic circle again. We're gonna chain 3 and do 2 more double crochets. So that's your first cluster. Chain 1, another 3 double crochets, all in the circle. Chain 1 and do 2 more clusters separated by chain 1. So don't forget to chain 1 at the end of your fourth cluster. Turn your work, grab that chain 3, top of chain 3, and pull that loop through. So as on the front, we're going to slip stitch into the chain 1 space, then chain 3 and put 2 more double crochets into that space. Now we're going to go to the next chain 1 space and do a corner, which is 3 double crochets, chain 2 and 3 double crochets. You will skip to the next chain 1 space and do a corner. Chain 2. And do 1 more corner here, and then we'll finish this corner together. At the end of the row, we're going to add 3 more double crochets to finish this corner in that same space where we started, and we will chain 2. Flip your work, find the top of chain 3, pull that yarn through, and slip stitch to the chain 2 space. Chain 3, do half your corner, and now you're going to start adding 1 granny stitch or 3 double crochet shell cluster stitch in every space between the corners. And now your corner, regular granny, corner, and so on. So we will do this until we reach the width here. So I'm guessing it would be 1, 2, 3 rows plus the 8, probably 11 rows. So I finished my 11 rows, and if you go from the center, you're counting these little V's. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So I finished on the right side, put the stitch marker there for now. I'm going to flip my work to the wrong side, and you can also see where the tail comes out is on the back side. And so now we're going to count the clusters, and we should have 11 because we have 11 rounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So the middle would be the 6th one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6th one is the middle, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 on each of the sides. Now grab a stitch marker and into this very central cluster find that middle stitch. So this is 1, 2, and 3, and into that middle stitch put a stitch marker. What we're going to do is we're going to separate now back into 2 pieces. That will create a little opening for a baby's head to go through easier, and then we're going to put a button in the back eventually. So remove the stitch marker. Our circle is finished and it looks amazing. Make sure you have 48 stitches around, and now we're going to start with our contrasting yarn. So make a slip knot, and now we are going to be working into the 2 back loops. So this is our regular little V that we get when we finish any of the stitches, whether it's single crochet or double crochet. So that's our little V on top of each stitch. We are going to also grab the loop here. So we're going to go through the back loop, this one, and through this loop, and make our stitches like so. So right here and here. If you need a needle to stretch the space, that's fine too. But let me just start anywhere. Pull your yarn through. And we are going to start with making a chain 3. And into that same space, we're going to do extended double crochet. And what that means is normally we would go through 2 and then 2. We are not going to do that. We are going to yarn over, grab our loop, go through only the first loop, and then finish the double crochet as usual. We're going to do that one more time. So grab a loop, go through the first one only, right there, and then finish your double crochet. So that's half of our corner. We're going to skip 2 stitches, and so here we can chain 1 and cut the yarn. Always leave yourself decent tail, so length of tail, so you can weave in the ends easier. And now we're going to go and do the other half, but we have to do it from the back side. So this time we're going to start right here. So this was our middle stitch. We're going to start in this stitch here. So chain 3. And now we're going to put 2 more double crochets in that very first space. And continue as we did on the other side. Keep repeating granny stitches until you get your 3 rows. So at the end of this row, like here, we have put 2 double crochets, or like here I should say, we will put 2 double crochets into the empty space, and then the last double crochet will be here at the end at the top of chain 3. So do that 3 rows. So now that I have my 3 rows, I'm going to put a stitch marker on this stitch, and I'm going to cut myself probably 3 times the length of the shoulders on the back side, actually the back panel. So 2 and then 3 and just 1 more for the good measure, so that I can use that thread and I can sew the shoulder straps or at the shoulder seam. All right. So once you finish your second half of the back panel, we are going to make a button loop. And to do that, I will slip stitch into the very first stitch I possibly can. So right here into the double crochet and slip stitch. Now pull up that yarn and turn your work away from you. And so now find this stitch right here, this chain right here, and then you are going to put this loop through the stitch marker to hold it in place. Do not make it too tight. Make a little bit room there. You're going to have to come back and work into that loop. And now loop this thread around, pull the yarn through that stitch. So we now need to adjust the size of our loop. So I pull this out a little bit. You do this depending on the size of the button you're going to put in the back. And so I'm going to hold the loop, tighten the yarn, chain 1, and then do single crochet around this piece of thread. So I'll probably fit 5 or 6 single crochets. So this is 3, 4, and 5. Now we can probably squeeze in 1 more single crochet. And now what I'm going to do is pull on my stitch marker and get my hook through that loop, remove the stitch marker, and I am going to slip stitch, just like that. So that's your button loop. And to finish, we're going to slip stitch into the first stitch we can possibly slip stitch into. Yeah, there's a button loop. So you can now cut your yarn. Now this is the right side. This is the right side. Okay, now we can cut the yarn. And just tighten this a little bit. All right. What needs to be done next is we're going to sew the shoulder straps to the back panel. We're going to flip the work so that the right sides are facing each other. Right sides are facing each other. And now we're going to count the stitches. So looking from the right side, this turning chain is going to be the place we're going to start stitching. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And same here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and this is going to be our 12th. We're going to count the same on the other side, making sure that we have 12 marked on each side. Take your darning needle, so remove the stitch marker and pull that yarn out and thread the yarn through your darning needle, and make sure that the wrong side is facing you. This is my wrong side and this is my wrong side. And to sew these pieces together, we are going to be working into the outside loops. So if you look at these little V's, this is the outside loop and this is the inside one. We're going to do the same on the back panel. So this is the inside loop and this is the outside loop. So line them up, and I'm going to start in that turning chain. So right there, and I'm gonna go one more time through all loops just to secure my yarn. You don't have to do this too tight. All right, so now we're going to be grabbing just the outside loops. So outside on this one and outside on this one, and then again the one closest to me and then the one farthest. So you get the gist of it. Very simple. I mean, you can use any techniques of sewing these stitches together you want. And then we have our last stitch, so I'm going to remove the stitch marker, grab that stitch, and grab my turning chain, also the outside loop right here, and that's the end of that. So I didn't make it too tight for sure, so let's just double check what that looks like on the right side. And as you can see, it looks like a little decorative braid. I like that look very much. All right, so to finish this, I'm gonna go one more time through this one stitch, actually both of the loops, and I'm gonna grab both loops on my turning chain, pull that yarn through, and now what I'm gonna do is kind of weave in my tail, so making sure that I don't go to the front so my extra yarn is not visible. And I will do this a couple times. I think that should do. There. I'm gonna cut my yarn. One done. So now we need to go to the other one, and we'll do the same thing. Here I left myself a longer loop, so I'm gonna pull the yarn out, thread my needle, and start sewing. I'm going to add one more row on each side all the way, and this one as well, and that's also gonna even out the shoulder part, so when we start working on our sleeve we don't have to struggle with these uneven or inordinary little stitches. So grab your yarn and let's begin. So let's see, this is our right side, so we need to start on the wrong side. So I'm going to attach my yarn to that space in one of the corners. It really doesn't matter whether it's right side or the wrong side. This is going to be under armpit. I'm going to chain 3 and start with my granny stitches. All the way until we get to those uneven ones, the granny stitches that are facing the opposite direction. So do granny stitches all the way to here, and then we'll do this part together. So I've come to the irregular ones, so we're going to skip this row and put our next granny stitch in this space here. And then skip all of this, and our next granny will be in this space. And the next space, and then from here on out you can continue with regular granny stitches until the end of the row, and I shall meet you there. At the end of the row, in the space, in the corner space, we're going to put 3 double crochets as our last granny. So see, that kind of nicely evens out our stitches in preparation for the sleeve. I'm going to separate now the height from my sleeve. So what I'm going to do is count the stitches and my cluster stitches. So my sleeve should be starting here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 shells left. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm gonna do a stitch marker here, and I'm gonna do the same on the back side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and in this space I'm going to put a stitch marker. So we are going to chain 3, turn our work, and skip these double crochets and start doing your granny stitches until you get to that stitch marker. Once you have your 9 grannies, you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to turn your work all the way around. So now I lost my stitch marker, so I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is the space I need to work into. So I am going to yarn over and into that first space I'm going to put a granny stitch. So we only chained 1, 2, and 3. Here's the interesting part. Pull this loop out. Now look for the next space between the 2 granny stitches, which is right here. Grab that loop and then pull it through and chain 1. Make it loosely. So yarn over into the next space, granny stitch. Pull up that loop and into the next space, pull the loop through and chain 1. So this is what we're going to get. Each shell will face another shell. Yarn over, another granny stitch, in another space, pull that loop through, chain 1. So continue this all the way to the end, then we'll finish the round together. So at the end of the row, instead of slip stitching into the space, I'm going to find that corner stitch and slip stitch into that little corner stitch, and then chain 3 and go back to the first panel and slip stitch. So this is what we have. So that looks pretty neat. So I'm going to chain 1 and cut my yarn. And we're going to do the same on the other side. We're going to count 9. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So into this space, put your stitch marker. And on the back panel, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So into this space, we're going to put a stitch marker. So let's start with the whole row of granny stitches. We're going to start into that chain 2 space. I will tie my yarn. Chain 3. And 2 more double crochets into that space. Chain 2 space. And now granny stitch in every stitch until you reach the end of the row. At the end of the row, chain 3 and turn your work. Start granny stitches into that first space. I had to readjust my stitch markers. So again, we are counting 9 shells. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And into this space, place a stitch marker and then do the same on the other side. Right here. So granny stitches until we reach the marker space. So now I'm going to remove my stitch marker on this side and put that stitch marker in my little loop that I have on my hook. And now we're going to have to go to the right side. So flip your work the right side out. Okay. And now make sure that the stitch markers are on the right side of your work. So grab that loop. Okay, we're gonna yarn over and start our granny stitches. Find that first space after the first granny stitch right here and pull that loop through. And chain 1. Yarn over to the next space and do your granny stitch, and do so until you reach the end of the work, and I'll meet you there. And just on the other side, I'm going to slip stitch into the actual stitch on the corner, get my yarn through, chain 3, and slip stitch to the top of chain 3 here. And that is that. I'm going to cut the yarn here. And we are ready to start working on our sleeves. I'll remove the stitch marker and I will weave in these ends. So let's measure again. We now have almost 11 inches across, or 28 centimeters. So it's time to start on our sleeves. I did weave in all my ends. So to start the sleeves, I'm going to tie the yarn right here between these two top facing each other granny stitches. So let's start with a chain 3 and 2 more double crochets in that space. A big gap because now we would have to skip this shell here and then continue in this space. I am going to put 1 double crochet into this space, and later we're just going to ignore that stitch. And now I'm going to continue with regular granny stitches until I get to the other side of my sleeve, and then we're going to repeat this 1 extra double crochet to make sure that our gap is not left too wide once we're done with all our stitches. So I'm at the other end and we have the same scenario. So this is our beginning shell. This is our shell facing this way and this one is going that way. I'm going to put 1 double crochet into this space here. And I'm going to slip stitch to the top of chain 3. Chain 3 and turn my work. And now skip this space here and just go straight into this next space and start doing your next row of granny stitches. So I'll meet you at the end of this row. Turn your work, and then this is the double crochet that we put as an extra in. So in this space I'm going to put my first chain 3, and in that space you will do 2 more double crochets, and continue with granny stitches until you get to the end before that 1 extra double crochet we put in. I'm at the 1 double crochet that we made, so I'm going to skip this space, and the one closer to my end of the round I'm going to put 1 granny stitch. And I'm going to slip stitch to the top of chain 3. Chain 3 and turn my work. All right, so let's just double check what we have. So we managed to close this gap with 1 extra double crochet that we put in. Otherwise we would have had to make some stitches to bring these 2 sides together. So this is the width of our sleeve now. I am going to probably let's do 3 more rows. My sleeve is shaping nicely, so I don't think I'm going to need to do any decreases. We're looking at approximately 8 inches of length of the sleeve. So let's do 15 rows minus these 5, so 10 rows. And then we'll see if we need to do more rows before we do the cuff. I finished my 10 rows, so counting from where I started, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And when I measure my sleeve now, I have about 20 or 15 centimeters, or nearly 6 inches. I'm going to do 2 more rows. I added 2 more rows, so I'm going to turn, and this row will be, instead of 3 double crochet clusters, it's going to be 2 double crochet clusters. So I'm going to add 1 more stitch here and then continue on adding 2 double crochets in each space around. That's going to narrow down the arm opening. At the end of the row, you will chain 1, pull a decent tail, and cut your yarn. Okay, to make the cuff, I am going to switch my crochet hook to 5 millimeters. You can probably see it a bit better like this. There you go. And I'm going to switch my yarn too. So your cuff should look like this, and it has to have a little bit of a give, and it still tapers it down enough to hug the baby's wrist. So I always start under the armpit. So pick any stitch, preferably not the one where you tied off your yarn for the blue yarn. And let's tie our yarn to our sweater. Go back in there, pull up a loop, chain 1, and into that same space we're going to do our first single crochet. We're going to do a single crochet in every stitch from the previous round. And do them loosely. If you do them too tight, then you may narrow it too much, and it might be a struggle for mom to pull the baby's hand through the sleeve. So continue with 1 single crochet in every stitch around. At the end of the row, we're going to slip stitch to our first single crochet. If it's easier for you, you may want to mark your first stitch. You will chain 1, and into that same stitch you will do single crochets, and do so till the end of the row. And we will do 5 rows total. So oops, I'm tangled in here. So going back, I'm going to put 1 single crochet into that same space, and then continue with single crochets all the way around, and until you have 5 rows. Here I have 5 rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So at the end of the row, you have 2 options. One is to slip stitch to the first single crochet and chain 1 and pull the yarn. I don't like that because then you can see that little knot here. So I'm going to undo my last stitch just to show you one more time. So that's my last stitch. I am going to pull the yarn, decent size, 3 inches for example, and cut the yarn, and I will do invisible join. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to weave in my ends. I did it on this side. I just have to do it on this side, and I believe there is a blue one in here somewhere. Yes, there is. So let's finish those ends, hide them away, and then we're going to continue with our work. I'm going to add the button to my sweater or jumper. So I'm going to tie it to, I will tie it actually to this shell here. And I'm going to put my holes opposite to the way the stitches are looking. So the stitch is going up and down, and I'm going to put my 2 holes from left to right. And so now we can tie our button or pull it through our buttonhole. There you go. And so now we're going to finish the bottom. We finished the bottom on the wrong side. You can see that this is the wrong side, and on this side it's the right side. So we need to even that out, and I'm going to use blue thread or blue yarn to do that. Attach your yarn. So I will switch back to size 4 millimeter crochet hook. Pull up the loop and chain 3, and do two more double crochets into that same space. and we're going to skip this shell here and go into the next opening and do granny stitch. Again, go to the next space. So do this all the way to the other side of the work where the armpit area is, and when we connected the back to the front, and I'll help you figure things out at that end. So at the end of the back area, this is the last shell that I put in here. So now I'm going to put one. This is where the shells were meeting each other, and then we created a chain 2 space that I'm going to put my next granny stitch into. I'm going to skip this shell and go to the next space and continue with granny stitches until I reach the first granny stitch, and I'm going to slip stitch to the top of chain 3 or do invisible join, whatever you prefer. To embroider our smiley, what I've done is I found the middle of my circle and then approximated my middle stitch here. So it should be the one that I marked with a stitch marker, and then I counted 11 stitches this way and 11 stitches that way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And right after that 11 stitch, I put the stitch marker in that space, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And I put the stitch marker right behind that. So what you'll need is category 4 or weight 4 yarn and wide-eyed or big-eyed darning needle. And I have here about 5 feet, a yard. And so we're going to be working in this row. So this is row 2. This was row 1. This is row 2. So we're going to start from underneath our work, and I'm going to start right here. So right where my stitch marker is. Okay, so I'm just going to hold my needle so I know where I need to start. And we're going to go into that stitch right here. So pull that yarn up and leave yourself about 4 inches of yarn and push it aside. And I'll go to the next space. And then come out into this next space. I think they call this running stitch, not sure, because we're going to go back and then the other side, the other way, until we fill in all of these missed stitches. Okay, you can also do it this way. So go here and under that stitch, pull your yarn so you don't have to go in and out all the time. So under and out. Just make sure that you're and we're going to come out where our stitch marker is. And pull through. All right. I think I will go down one more time to see if I'm sort of halfway through. So it looks good. And now what we're going to do is a little cross end. So go to the space next to your last stitch and then try to grab this middle here between the two stitches and pull it under. There. And now we're gonna come out up this way and then go down and cover all the stitches that we didn't do initially to form a full line. Again, try not to split the yarn and try always to be on the same side of the stitch, so don't be coming out on this side of the stitch and then on that side of the stitch. It does make a difference, so always work kind of on the outside of the stitch. So with my last stitch, I'm going to go under my work and I will repeat that. So come out this way, and now what we're going to do is that smile line. So go to the side of that stitch and then you will do it across the other side. And those are our smile lines right here. And now we doubled down this one, so I am going to come up at the bottom of this stitch here. So the next stitch, and then go one up, come down this next stitch on the bottom of it, and then up, and repeat that till you get to the other side. So that's gonna even out the stitches a little. So again, you will always now go from the bottom of the stitch right here, pull the yarn through, make sure you don't make it too tight, and then go back, and so on. At the end, try to come out underneath this horizontal bar and do the double over on this stitch. And so the smile is done. So now I can cut my yarn in the back. And before I continue, I'm gonna weave in these two ends. To make the eyes of our little smiley, I am counting from these horizontal bars and these spaces of the stitches that we didn't use, and it's in the same row that our smile is, and I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4. Into the 5th space, I'm going to start my eye from the bottom. And then leave yourself again a tail so you can actually weave in your ends and tie the knot in the back. Now I'm not going to follow the stitch and go this way, but I'm going to go down instead. So not here following this stitch, I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to do this one more time. Make sure that you're not working through that tail that's underneath your fabric. That's that. Now cut yourself again, decent tail, and we're gonna do the second eye. So from here, from the horizontal bar, I am counting 1, 2, 3, 4, and into the 5th one. I'm gonna start my eye, or smiley's eye. Leave the tail there. And now, not following the stitch this way, we're going to go one down. So not following the stitch here, we're going to go one down. You can definitely change the placement of the eyes if you want them wider apart or closer. It's really up to you. And we're gonna go and do this one more time. Try not to split the yarn. Okay, grabbing the wrong tail, so there. And one more time. And that's that. Our beautiful baby jumper is done. The size is again appropriate for 9 to 12 months. It measures 11 inches across and also 11 inches down from the shoulder to the waist. My sleeves are 8 inches long. So I enjoyed making this little jumper, and I thank you for your patience, and I hope to see you when I'm demonstrating my next project. Until then, stay well, everyone.